Welcome to the Runna Podcast. I'm Coach Anya, an international marathon runner.
And I'm Coach Ben, and one of the co-founders of Runna.
Each week we'll be deep diving into the world of running, speaking to some inspiring individuals about their running journeys.
Runna is the #1 rated running coaching service worldwide. We help hundreds of thousands of people all over the world train for any running goal. And if you want to try out Runna for free, you can try it out using the code RUNNAPODCAST, all one word, to get 2 weeks of free access to the Runna app.
Today on the podcast, we have Dr. PT and nutritionist Dr. Hazel Wallace. She's the founder of The Food Medic, a platform informing living a healthy lifestyle. She's also a 3 times best-selling author, podcaster, and all-round superwoman who's recently started her running journey.
So Hazel, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. To start with, would love to know, what is it about health and fitness that inspired you to devote a career and a passion towards both?
It's quite a long story, so I'll try to give you the short version. First of all, thank you for having me here. It's really nice to come to the Runna offices as well. So really my story stems from my teenage years. I was quite active as a child, but as a teenager, naturally, I think my interests lay elsewhere, in boys in school and things like that. And when I was 14, I lost my dad unexpectedly to a stroke. And that was, I guess, an experience that really shaped what came after. I wasn't really at the age where I was thinking about what I was going to do with my life, but something sparked an interest in me that how we live our lives, i.e. the food that we eat, how we exercise, is hugely important for our overall health. And stroke is one of those conditions that is largely related to our lifestyle. And so I then decided to go into medicine and study that. And alongside that, I was super interested in learning how we can help integrate lifestyle and nutrition into the advice that we're giving patients. But we didn't really talk much about it. We would pay lip service to it, but not really know how to practically apply it to giving advice to patients. And so I basically set up a blog called The Food Medic back in 2011, I think 2012, where I was sharing evidence-based advice on how you can improve your lifestyle and nutrition while I was studying as a medical student. And it just really took off because I think at the time Instagram was a really small place and most people were fitness influencers but without any kind of science backing or credentials. And I guess that was my point of difference. And I was getting this personal interest myself in going back to the gym, getting healthier. And so it kind of grew from a personal place, but also this bigger mission to inspire other people to live healthier lives. So that was well over a decade now, and I'm still doing that. I qualified as a doctor, worked in the NHS for a couple of years, and then retrained as a nutritionist so that I could really merge the two, and did my PT qualification as well alongside it. So I had this big mission to be this super hybrid doctor that did everything, which didn't exactly work out that way. It did in its own way, especially through social media and the work I do in that way. So I guess that's a short but long version of how I got to where I am today.
So a woman of many hats.
So impressive.
And I guess kind of within that journey as a doctor, you're running your amazing blog and it's really taking off. And I guess there must have been a period, I'm thinking back to kind of the lockdown, where you're working in the NHS, you've got social media, you've got the blog. How do you juggle doing all of these different things at once?
Yeah, that was a really interesting time. I think I was hugely under pressure and burnt out during that, working as a COVID doctor. And I think everyone working in the NHS was, because it was this unknown thing that we'd ever dealt with. So trying to navigate that, and then you were working more shifts than normal, longer shifts than normal. You were seeing more devastating things than you normally would. So you were living through trauma, but you couldn't see your friends or your family. And I lived alone. So I was actually quite grateful that I was going into a place of work. And I was also trying to keep the Food Medic Instagram going by hosting live workouts on my day off. And I was just knackered. But I think fitness was a really important thing during that time for me because it was the only thing I really had outside of work. And it was when I first started running. I think alongside many other people, I did that. Remember everyone was doing like 5K for charity?
Nominate 5, run 5, nominate 5.
And so that was my introduction. And I remember like really thinking about when I was going to do it and like how I was going to feel for it. And it was like this huge deal. And my neighbor at the time was Emma Kirkode Newby, and she's a running coach, and she was like, I was, speaking to her about it, I was like, should I like break it up? Like, how am I going to do 5K? And she's like, you'll be fine, just like do it slow. And I got through it, but it probably took me about like 45 minutes because I just wasn't a runner at the time. But it did inspire me to keep going. So that was my entry to running.
And so I guess alongside the amazing career, you're doing your fitness. You're now kind of like thinking about trialing out some running. You do your 5K. Looking back to that now seems crazy where you've done marathons, amazing half marathons. What was it about that 5K that meant that you wanted to keep running after doing that first 5K?
I think partly that it got me out of the house and we had that like short window. And I was doing home workouts, but I was just not really feeling inspired by it. So being able to get out and exercise outside, I think, was something that I was, wanted to give a go. And the fact that I managed to get through the 5K and didn't die, I thought, well, actually, maybe I could do a bit more. I've always, like I mentioned earlier, like I've been into fitness, but running has just never caught on. Like it's not something I really like developed a love for. I had quite bad asthma as a child, so I had this fear that if I ran far, I was going to become unwell. And so now I'm like in my 30s and I'm running marathons and half marathons and doing loads of speed work. And for me, it's like I'm still trying to wrap my head around how I'm doing that and why it took me so long to find it.
And how are you doing it? How have you managed to find a love of running and progress to do these things, all of which you didn't think you were able to do and maybe didn't enjoy? Because I think the reason why doing 4 years later than COVID, it's now you did a half marathon, 2-3 weeks ago? Like the key to be able to continue doing it is obviously enjoying it.
Yeah.
And for maybe people out there who are at the start of that journey and they're looking at 5K as a daunting distance, like what is it that you've been able to do to enjoy running?
I think for me, the most important thing is enjoying the progress and enjoying the process, because you can't deny, like when you cross the line, like, and you know this best than everyone else, like cross the finish line, you feel amazing and you've achieved something huge. But if you're not enjoying the process of getting there, then it just feels a bit empty. So I've just been trying to enjoy the process as much as possible. And because I'm new to running, and for anyone who else is new to running, the newbie gains that you get is something that like is such a positive feedback loop. So you realize that actually you can run 5K, and then you set yourself another goal, and then you realize you can attend run clubs, and then you can do, go running with your friends or your partner. And there's so many other ways that running can integrate into your life, not just running races. And I think just feeling capable, not just strong in the gym, but feeling capable is something that like really reinforces in other areas of your life.
And I guess it kind of comes back to the mission of your dad and everything that you spoke of at the start, which is you want to be a healthy all-round person. I guess it's like you've got the strength from all the strength work that you did in the gym and you continue to do, but now you're this all-round healthy person. You're obviously eating well with everything you do at the Food Medic, but I guess like it's that extra side of it, I guess, that brings you to doing health, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the fact that you can do it anywhere in the world is amazing. So my partner is really into running, and whenever we like visit a new city, we try to like map a route where we can like see all the like sites and everything, and just it's another way to add into your life, I think, having running as part of the things that you do.
And so how many marathons have you done at this point?
I've done, well, technically 2, because I did one with Josh when he was doing his 76 marathons, but like I struggled through that first one. And then I did my first official one last year in New York. which I also actually really struggled with. I did enjoy it because it was an amazing place to do it, but I didn't realize how many hills there were going to be.
The bridges, right?
The bridges are just insane. And I was also, I went out there with Strava, but I didn't have any like friends or family with me. And I think I really missed that. Because when you run races in London, like you see so many people you know, and it just gives you an extra little boost.
And does that make you think, we just had the London Marathon, obviously, and
you were
running
the London Marathon, yeah.
Does that make you think about like wanting to do London one day? Do you want to do another marathon, or have you ticked it off? Like, what's your feelings there?
Yeah, I definitely want to do London. I was offered a spot very last minute, and I just felt like I wasn't ready for it. But I would love to do I'd love to do a local one like London or maybe Dublin Marathon, because that's where I'm originally from.
Amazing. And so I guess kind of like looking ahead to your goals for fitness, moving forwards this year, have you got any big goals on the horizon? Is it just enjoying the process? Like, what are you thinking about there?
Well, when I was setting my goals for this year, I thought, I'll do now I've done a marathon, I'll do a 50k ultra. Like, it seems like the next I don't know, step that I should do in my running journey. But what I realized as I was like stepping into that training is that you need so much time, and you need to be really emotionally ready to commit to that. And right now work is just so busy that I felt like I wasn't really enjoying that training. And so I've just switched my goals around a little bit. I'm actually working towards a fast 5k, hopefully with the help of you, Ben.
I'm looking forward to pacing you in. Where are we doing it? Battersea Park?
Battersea Park. And so kind of having a break from really long runs and doing more like speed work has been really refreshing, and it also keeps things interesting. So I've got that. I might do another like half later in the year, and then I've got Valencia Marathon in December.
We're following you around, so we're both doing Valencia Marathon as well. And you were just saying to me this morning that you've done the marathon, focusing on speed work as well, right? So it seems like a very normal progression to do the longer stuff, take a break, work on the speed stuff, right?
Definitely. I think there's a pressure at the moment. Like, everybody's doing these mental crazy challenges, but like to reflect on your journey, and you are pretty new to running, and you don't need to be like running the length of Africa. Like, you are relatable enough, and everybody is so invested in your journey. Like, it is amazing. Do you feel a pressure, or did you feel a pressure to be like, I have to do an ultra?
Yeah, I think I hate the term like fitness influencer, but like, let's just call a spade a spade. That's part of what I do. And I think there is a pressure to be doing amazing things that inspire people. And so I was a bit hesitant to say, I'm not going to do that really cool ultra. I'm actually going to just do a 5k in Battersea next to where I live. And when I did say that, so many people were like, thank you for just like normalizing that, you can be a runner and not have to run marathons or ultras. Like, everyone has a different running journey and has different running goals, and not everyone wants to run like super long distances or, insane challenges. And while those challenges have their place, and like witnessing Josh's was like so inspiring, and then Johnny doing Run the Line, I think for most people it's just getting that extra 1% of where they were a couple of months ago.
And I guess that's like also what makes you such an amazing and inspiring person to follow, is that you are relatable. Like, not that you're practicing medicine in the NHS at the moment, but like, you work very hard. You have to balance your fitness life around a social life, around an intense job, and actually showcasing the normal struggles, which is marathon training is intense. We don't want to be training for these huge goals all the time. Let's go and spice it up and work on a 5k. People enjoy following that journey, and I think that's the key. And maybe one day when you've got the time and you're emotionally ready and you want to go and do your first ultra marathon, that's when to do it, not because it's the next tick box along the journey.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. It's like not seen as a tick box exercise, and I never want to get into that kind of mindset, or else I think you just like would probably fall out of love with what you're doing if you're just trying to do the next thing.
You mentioned obviously you and your partner David like to go around the world and go and do these amazing runs. I think something that I've seen you guys do, which is just so lovely, is you both do different races so that you can cheer each other on. How much do you find it helps you with your running journey to have your teammate alongside cheering you on, training, and just like understanding that same challenge but the different challenge?
Yeah, it's incredibly helpful. I think whether it's like a friend or a family member or partner, we try to like match up our like training blocks so that if we're going through an intense training period together, it's pretty similar. Because you know yourself, when you get close to like a race, you just want to, you know, eat good food, get lots of sleep. You don't really want to go out and drink alcohol, and having someone who understands that is really helpful. So yeah, recently I did London Landmarks half, and then David did London Marathon 2 weeks later. And so we were able to support each other kind of on the day. And that's just like so helpful, because as much as it would be nice, we were never going to run together. And so having that person in the crowd, or just someone who's like gonna, like what I was doing with David, is making sure he's got hydration and fuel so he's not carrying it. So we were just chatting about Valencia Marathon now, like I'm going to do it, but he's going to do, I think, Cyprus Marathon maybe 2 or 3 weeks before that, so that we can support each other but also get like a little trip out of it for as well, out of each other's races.
And it's just the best boost, right? When you're in a race and you run past someone that you love and you care about, they cheer you on. It's just the best sensation. So you almost get to enjoy being a fan of him, and then he can be your fan and give you those sensations, right?
Yeah, that's it. So it's helpful.
Amazing. 2 things I wanted to mention to you, because I know you've helped Runner out with some amazing like articles about nutrition and about training as a woman, and around our period cycles and things. I guess we could probably start with food, because the food medic started before you became a runner, before you picked up running. How much has your diet changed, like with being a runner, and like is that something we all need to think about when we start training more intensely?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. So the interesting thing is like general nutrition advice, which I guess is where the food medic grew from, is like very different to advice that you give to runners, because sports nutrition is quite like, it's quite niche, it's quite specific. Sometimes it can feel like it's conflicting against like general healthy eating advice, because like obviously around running you need like a huge amount of carbs. Sometimes they're quite refined carbs. You want low fiber, low protein, low fat, which is not what we normally recommend. So oftentimes like you have to think about who you're speaking to when it comes to giving nutrition advice, because what I'd recommend, say in my clinic when I'm working with women, might be slightly different to what I'd recommend for you, because you're like a runner and you're doing so much exercise. And for me personally, figuring that out has been quite interesting, like seeing the practical side of things, because I have a strength training background, so I often prioritize protein, but that's not the best thing when it comes to fueling your runs. You want carbohydrates, you need to get enough of them in. You kind of want to keep protein low around your run so it's not going to slow down digestion. And so learning that and like having a few mistakes myself has been a really interesting thing. And I think that's something that you really need to learn about and like read into. You know, nutrition for every day does differ when it comes to your runs.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I think that's so important. Yeah, we have some great articles written by you on the website. And yeah, a question we always get is there, I know this is going to be a really long answer and it's hard to say like in short, but like, is there a way we can train around our cycle?
It's a question that I get asked all the time, and the truth is there's not a huge amount of research, and what we know from the limited research is there may be like a slight dip in performance when it comes to endurance and strength at the start of your cycle, so during menstruation, which I'm sure everyone who's listening to the podcast who's a woman is saying, well, yeah, obviously. And then that actually might change slightly after the week after menstruation, so just before ovulation, estrogen's high. Women tend to feel more motivated, mood is better, and slightly stronger in the gym. And also then after ovulation, there may be some preference towards endurance training. The differences are so small, and the research has been quite conflicting that we can't make generalized recommendations and say, week 1 of your cycle, do this, week 2 of your cycle, do that. So I don't really support like cookie cutter programs that say that. But I do think it's incredibly important to learn what impact your cycle may be having on your performance. And so For example, like if you are someone who's in that first part of your cycle, you're menstruating, inflammation is going to be high, so you might want to think about improving your diet, like getting lots of anti-inflammatory foods in there, and also thinking about, you know, maybe not putting your kind of hardest runs at the start of that week. You know, like think about it logically. When are you going to feel your best? So a lot of it's individual and bespoke. We can use the science to inform what we do, but the best kind of informant is you and your own body, really.
Mm-hmm. It's almost kind of like trial and error, right? See what works, experiment with different things in different cycles, and start to work out what works for you. And it might be putting your easy runs at the start of the week, and or kind of experiment with different foods, like you said.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, I often get, you know, messages from women who are doing races, and they're like, oh no, I'm day one of my cycle, or it's going to start when I'm doing my race, like what should I do? And I just tell everyone, like, not to panic. You know, that the difference will be quite small in terms of where you are at in your cycle. Just plan ahead, make sure you're like more hydrated than normal, make sure that you're not taking on any new foods because your gut will be a bit more upset than normal, and just get as much sleep as possible. So you just want to optimize recovery so that you are doing your best on race day.
I know everybody says this, but it is all about listening to your body. Like, we can use our hormones and work with them, and like with the foods, like let's listen to our body, and if we're hungry we need to eat, we need to think about what we're fueling our body with. The same with training, like it's important to stay injury free, to listen to your body. So I guess so much of what you promote is that, like, being in tune with yourself.
Yeah, which can feel like a little bit boring because you're like, you know, banging the same drum, and it's not the sexiest message out there, and it's not the one that's gonna, you know, it's not clickbait, it's not going to go viral, but it's the one that's the most scientifically sound. And I think, like, there's enough people who are kind of spreading nonsense online that if I have to be the voice of reason, I will.
Amazing. And so maybe kind of last serious question before we come on to some slightly more funny, sillier questions. What would be the best piece of advice you could give yourself back when it was not run 5, nominate 5, or the best piece of advice you could give to someone at the start of their running journey?
I guess I would say that, like, there's not one pace or one look or one distance that makes you a runner. And that was probably what was holding me back for such a long time, is I don't look like a runner and I will embarrass myself, or I won't be as fast as other people. And I think once you just kind of let go of that and have a look around and see how many, like, different bodies are out there running and at different paces and doing different things, like, you just need to let that go and have fun.
Yeah, I think kind of like we always say, everyone's a runner. And I think you look at something like Parkrun, and I think, like, it's an amazing organization in its own right, encouraging people to get out and move. But you've got people who run 5K in 45 minutes, 30 minutes and 15 minutes, and they're all doing the exact same thing, which is pushing themselves as hard as they can to get round at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And it's like, some people look phenomenal, some people are at the start of their journey, some people are at the end, and it's just as hard for everyone. And I think wherever you are on that journey, you're a runner, and therefore don't be afraid to start, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Amazing.
My top tip today is prevention is better than cure. Strength and conditioning will help build that strong foundation, as well as increasing your power and your strength that you can translate into your running. If you're pushed for time, then 1 session a week is absolutely great, but ideally aim for 2. We have a whole host of strength plans in the Runna app where you can let us know how much time you have, what equipment you have, and whether you'll be doing it at home or in the gym, and we'll have a great strength plan for you.
Okay, yeah, let's do some sillier kind of questions. I have some this or that's or would you rathers for you. Okay, the first one is, would you rather wear only running clothes ever, or you can only have one running outfit per year? You can wash it, but you have to keep wearing the same one.
So you can't dress up, you're in running clothes all day, every day?
I kind of just wear activewear every day, so I think I'll just go with the former. Yeah.
Are you getting
running
married this year?
So
you're wearing your running
okay, I change it.
I'm changing the wedding.
Okay, I'll wear the one kit. It's more sustainable as well.
Mm-hmm. And if we're asking you next year, is it then activewear?
The year after getting married.
If you weren't getting married, it would be all the running kits.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
Okay. I mean, I wear running kit all day, every day, and
It's weird to
Regardless
you
of-
share
as
this
in,
size.
I'm already doing that. So that
Even if
is
you're
me.
getting married.
Yeah, as in, I haven't been to many weddings, but I did go to Steph's wedding last year, and my attempt to be smart, Steph, one of our amazing coaches, my attempt to be smart was I did wear a tie, I did wear a shirt, and my chinos that I like wear to work when I have to wear smart clothes, and then I wore flip-flops.
I thought you were going to say like Hawkins.
It was actually very funny going to the wedding of an Olympian because literally everyone, so her partner is an amazing Ironman as well, so literally everyone there had their Garmin or their smartwatch on their arm, and so it was either Garmin's or horrendous tan lines where the Garmin's had been taken off, and just like everyone in these like strappy dresses with like sports bra tan lines on their backs. So it was very funny.
Very good. Yeah. Okay, next one. You're only allowed to cook in a microwave forever, or you're only allowed to eat in restaurants forever?
Only allowed to eat in restaurants forever.
No.
But you love to cook.
I love to cook, but I
Don't love to
I
cook with a
don't. I
microwave.
don't really use a microwave very often, so I would rather do that because I think I'd be really limited and it would be all, I don't know, reheating food.
Yeah.
And you can pick the good restaurants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd rather just I mean, I like to cook, but I also like people cooking for me.
Do you think you could get to a point where you're bored of eating out?
I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
I'm sure you
At
could.
the end of a holiday, I'm just like, I just want like my comfort foods.
Yeah. Give me some vegetables, please.
Yeah.
I think these are easy choices this week. I'm also restaurant every day.
I mean, I use a microwave meals. Like, I'm not a very good cook. So maybe I'll
What's
go
your
microwaves.
microwave every
Yeah,
day?
maybe.
I feel like you're saying maybe just to disagree.
Okay, last one. Would you rather listen to one song on every run for the rest of your life, or never be able to listen to the same song more than once?
Oh, the latter. Never be able to listen to the same song more than once. I'm one of those people.
Imagine if you heard a song that you like, and then you're listening to it, knowing that you'll never hear it again.
The alternative is listening to one song, which would just drive me insane. I'm like that person who's like literally full send in a race, tapping away on my AirPods because a song came on that I don't like, and I just can't. I can't listen to songs that I'm just not into.
Oh, see, the thing I struggle with is that I'm cycling and listen to like a song, I hear a new song, I have to like go and get my phone out and like screenshot it or add it to a playlist so I don't lose it. Because the worst thing is to listen to a really nice song and then never hear it again.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
about that song
true.
forever if I don't know what it is.
So you guys would just listen to one song forever and ever?
If I could do an album,
Well, I don't really listen to music.
I normally make like a playlist that will just like carry me through a year and just listen to that playlist over and over and over again until I get bored of it. And then like try and make a new playlist, but I just don't like listen to the radio to find new songs anyway.
Yeah, that's true. It's like TikTok and Instagram that teach me what music's
Yeah.
trendy and new.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I think I'm doing one song.
Okay,
Nice.
fair enough.
Okay, we've now got our embarrassing running story of the week.
So if you do want to send in your embarrassing running stories, send them to podcast@runner.com.
Yeah.
Wait, is this one of you or
No, so this
random?
is our runners are sending them in.
Oh, nice.
We'll go and pick a funny one of the week and share them. So yeah, send them to podcast@runner.com or even send us a voice note to our runner Instagram account.
So this embarrassing story was actually said to me by a friend in passing conversation, but it's a really good one.
Do they know you're about to share this on the
No,
internet?
but I won't say their name. They'll be fine with it. Okay, so I was running London Marathon and I looked so unwell at the finish line that the medical team brought me over to the medical tent. They lied me down and asked me if I knew where I was. I knew I was at London Marathon, but I got so distracted by my housemate who was wheeled past me in a wheelchair after also finishing the race in not a pretty state. And so I shouted towards her. The medical staff thought I was going a bit crazy, and so they had to run some tests on me. They put a thermometer up my bottom. As they did so, I locked eyes across the tent with my housemate where the same thing was happening to her. This was not the post-race pub we planned to meet at.
Wait, so if this is what the doctors are doing,
good
you'd have thought they'd at least
story.
do it in private.
She said she was watching and the same thing was happening to her housemate, and they couldn't believe that they were
It
both
was
having this
happening.
happening.
That is hilarious.
The medical tent. There'll be someone in the middle who's like kind of waking up from passing out to these two people having an interesting experience.
That is jokes.
Wow. And they turned out to be okay?
Yeah, all good, all good.
Temperature was fine.
Well, at least they don't need to be that embarrassed because it's not like they're on their own.
Yeah.
They're in the same boat.
Yeah, she was actually vlogging the day as well.
Was
I don't
she?
think that was
Yeah,
caught on
that
camera.
doesn't make the
That is
doesn't
a
make the vlog,
joke.
right?
Yeah.
Wow. Have you had any very embarrassing moments or none that are appropriate to share?
I haven't as of yet. I'm trying to think.
That's probably a good way to be, not having had too many embarrassing running moments.
I'm sure there's loads. I've got many gym moments, so maybe I'm too early on in my running career for an embarrassing moment to happen.
What's an embarrassing gym moment?
Just like dropping things and like banging my head on bars and not looking where I'm going and that kind of thing, where putting too much weight on one side and then realizing that it...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the problem, the only problem with this is that you know that your most embarrassing moment is ahead. That you have that to look forward to.
I know.
Well, on that note, our final question could be a very embarrassing moment, which hopefully doesn't happen to anyone. But we like to ask everyone, imagine you're standing on the start line of your next marathon. You're completely naked and you can bring 3 things. What 3 things are you bringing to your next marathon? For context, I went on Hazel's amazing podcast and she asked me the 3 things I'm taking to a desert island. And on the moment, I kind of thought this would be great. I brought a barbecue and a windsurf and a pair of sunglasses. So that was my desert island experience.
So random.
Because I was like, this would be great. Please strand me on a desert island. But anyway, probably not quite so great.
No.
Start line of your next marathon. What are you bringing?
That has to be running specific. I'm going to bring a sports bra because no one wants to see me running naked. And probably shorts and then my trainers. Those would be the 3 things, which are boring and practical.
So no gels?
I would rather have shorts than gels. We'll just have to raw dog it.
And you're not putting it on Strava or on your runner account?
No, I'm just going to pray that someone else will have video footage of me doing it.
And you got the chip time?
Yeah,
So
I
you
got
could-
the
you
chip
could
time.
upload it afterwards.
Yeah, so
Socks, no socks.
no socks. But then it's socks.
You've missed the trick, which is you could get a leotard and that saves so it gives you a spare outfit, a spare
Yeah,
item.
that's true, but you're a man, so
Well, like a fancy
I mean, I don't
dress.
run around in a leotard that much.
a
But,
leotard with a built-in sports bra.
If you had like one of those rhino costumes or something, I would just cover it up.
Oh, yeah.
you mean like an actual rhino?
Yeah, like, you know, people do it in fancy dress.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the rhino wouldn't be the most efficient if you were just looking for an item of clothing. You wear like a bed sheet, or a whole rhino outfit.
A more suit.
or just like a one-piece item, or a rhino costume. Well, that sounds like a very sensible and practical approach to your next marathon.
Thanks.
But I guess for anyone who's been inspired listening to all of your breadth of knowledge, or wants to follow you on your running journey for your Fast 5K this summer and everything beyond that, and your 50K and beyond ultramarathon one day, how can they go and find you?
I'm really easy to find. I'm just the Food Medic on Instagram and TikTok, and we've got a website as well. And my podcast is called The Food Medic as well. And all my books can be found under The Food Medic. So it's very easy.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
Good luck with all of your amazing fitness, health, and exciting journey ahead.
Thank you so much.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Runna. If you want to train for any running goal, please download the app and don't forget you can use the code RUNNAPODCAST for a 2-week free trial.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, follow, do all of that nonsense, and we'll be back here next week. And if you want to be featured, send us your embarrassing running story. Either send us a voice note on Instagram or send us an email to podcast@runner.com so that we can have a good laugh at your expense in Runner HQ and share it on one of the next episodes.